Welcome to Binge Theory, the coolest corner on the internet. We are the Beatles of panels. With me today, we have Brianna.
Hello.
We have Logan.
Hello.
And we don't have anybody else because it's just the three of us. But I'm saying there's four of us because it feels better that way. Right off the top, everybody, we're going to just go through a whole bunch of items that we saw popping up all over the internet and some stuff that we brought to the table. First thing on our list, we have in gaming news. Brianna, can you tell us, first of all, because I don't want to slaughter the name of this game and what is happening with it?
Ghost of Tsushima, which is one of our PlayStation exclusives. They just announced through Sony that they're going to do a movie of it. So that's actually one of several movies and or TV shows by PlayStation that are being made. But basically, it's going to be through Sony Pictures. And what I really thought interesting was the John Wick director, Chad, Stahelski, is going to be the director. So that's super exciting because I feel like with all the fighting styles and kind of just how heavy that piece plays into even the video game, I feel like that's probably about the perfect director for that particular film. So
absolutely. One of the best fight choreographer directors around. I mean, obviously that's what made John Wick. It wasn't the nuanced plot. It was a lot of the long take action sequences. So, that is going to be sweet. I'm definitely looking forward to that. Logan, you've dabbled in some gaming. Did you ever get into that game at all or look it up?
No. I mean, anything, as far as, PlayStation exclusive or anything like that, I've always been PC. So I've never had an independent console and don't plan to anytime soon. Maybe I'll consider it when I don't have 3 kids under the age of 6, but we'll talk then.
No.
And Horizon Zero Dawn and Death Stranding used to be PlayStation exclusives, and they're now on PC. So you can catch up.
So there's hope that I'll catch up one day.
Years, eventually you'll catch up.
Eventually.
Yeah, I've not played it yet. I've just not had the bandwidth to get back into gaming. I have seen a lot of watch me play videos where it just looks phenomenal. I mean, the graphics.
Beautiful game.
It is. And from what I was seeing, a lot of the melee and the action isn't just button smashing. It's nuanced, and you have to do angle attacks, and it looks just really. It looks like a grown-ups game of sword play, if there is such a thing. I am looking forward to the movie, but maybe I should play the game a little just to get some background. Brianna, have you played it? Have you solved it? Have you played it all the way through?
Yes, I played all of it. I'm not 100% completionist, but I finished the main story and I've done most of the other side stuff. I think it's I'm probably around 80-ish hours, but fantastic game. Loved it.
For some reason, when I hear anything above 3 hours, I just, my head explodes.
Yeah, that was not 8. That was 80.
Yeah.
80.
80. Where do you get that time?
80.
No, that sounds cool.
A lot of nights a weekend.
Again, I gotta find some time, but it is what it is. Sticking with gaming, I think Logan brought up a great topic. Logan, you want to drop a beat on this one, good sir, with your gaming news?
So what was this one? This one was, I don't see where did my article go?
It's it's the favorite classic.
Yeah, I thought I had an article I thought went with it though, because there was a reason why I brought this up. It wasn't just random.
Oh, you know what? Forgive me. I do have it here. Everybody, we have production notes. And every once in a while, what I do is I just delete Logan's so he can't.
Oh, hey. Yeah. Hey, look
to
at
make
that.
It difficult.
You were testing me.
Exactly. I was like, let's see him do a total
Keep him on his toes.
Yeah. Okay, I knew there was more to it. Anyway, so one of the gaming things that I came across, which was something that would interest me because I did more, still computers, but computer gaming kind of in high school and college and some of those, early, more carefree, time-free days. And one of the articles I saw was that I guess there's a new Diablo 2 Resurrected on the horizon that will actually allow you to import your 20-year-old saved games from the original Diablo. Now that's something I can get behind because I still have my original. I was to be honest hoping that the remake of Final Fantasy VII would also contain a computer port because I would love to be able to load the save games that I still have from my PC Final Fantasy VII days to be able to kind of load in and play around that way from there. But seeing that this was going to be done, I thought that would be kind of cool. And, what would be the, the threshold or the amount of people who do this or who talk about this to make this be something that happens in sequels or happens in remakes and is something that can really, bring in those people who maybe haven't played in forever, but may still have those files or may have that kind of, nostalgic type love around and might actually bring them to a new one. If I had played the original Diablo, I would absolutely get this one just for that sake alone, because I could upload the old games that I had. But yeah, just I thought that was really neat and was just, wondering some of those favorite classic games and kind of where maybe we got started in gaming.
Yeah. I still have all my Donkey Kong saved, so
it's very important you hold on to those.
Oh, geez, well, in Donkey Kong Jr., or was it Donkey Kong Country? Donkey Kong Country was, I believe, I'm trying to remember what gaming system. I had like 3 gaming systems that I was going through. I had, first of all,
Super Nintendo, SNES.
No, it was I never had that. I had Sega Genesis.
Okay.
Then I also had Dreamcast, and of course PlayStation. But I think it might have been Dreamcast, or I'm thinking, oh well. Again, like I said, I need to get PlayStation 5. Are we on 5 now? Is that what's 5? Happening? That's the thing. Jeez.
Still hard to get though. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, maybe one day we'll get a sponsor and they'll start giving us some good stuff. But
listen, the day they start giving us consoles, my life will be made. So
exactly, just glowing reviews.
That's the upper echelon.
Yes, we're at the lower echelon. Is it even an echelon?
I was gonna say, are we at an echelon of any kind?
Yeah. We're the subterranean levels.
Exactly. No, yeah, that seems good. Just bringing back old games, to a new audience, but also just polishing off your member berries and enjoying the old. I did play the first Diablo when it came out way back when it was. I don't know if the format's changed at all, but it was a. And Brianna, help me out. Is it called a 3D overhead view? Because everything was shot on like a really pulled back, where you can see the full figures. It's
right,
kind of
that's like third person.
Oh yeah, definitely.
First person is like through their eyes.
But it was shot like on an angle, so it still gave you dimension, but it was almost like The Sims, if that makes sense.
Yes, it's more 3D.
Yeah, but yeah, I feel so old when I start talking about the old games like Cubert and Dig Dug and Frogger. And don't forget the whole what was that one that it was an extension of Atari, Activision, where Activision had a whole
Activision.
Yeah. I remember one that was the most insane game because you could never win it. I think it was called Mega Mania. Yeah, Mega Mania. And it was basically just a poor man's version of Space Invaders. But the ship looked very closely. It looked very close to a ripoff of the Enterprise.
Oh, yeah.
It looked like they were trying to rip off the Enterprise without, infringing on any copyright. But it was essentially ships and things were coming down, but they wouldn't just come straight down. They'd come down on angles and then shift. And then it was very mind blowing for its time.
Hmm.
Now it probably looks like Tetris essentially.
Doesn't everything?
Yes, so the pixels get
Wild.
smaller and smaller. Cool. No, that's gaming. Interesting. Let's move on to the next one. Logan brought this up. I caught it when it first came out, maybe a week or so ago.
Mm-hmm.
Did you catch it, Logan?
The short film?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
If you can take the lead on that, because I enjoyed it, but I'm a little, my brain is, not working as good as it did 20 years ago.
So this is a kind of smallish independent studio. They, what are they? They've done a bunch of kind of superhero mashup type stuff, like a fight between Wolverine and the Predator, or Batman versus Darth Vader, or the Green Ranger versus Ryu. Fun things like that. And a couple of other interesting ones. They had one I remember that had Jason David Frank, who was the Green Ranger and the White Ranger and the Black Ranger and a whole bunch of Rangers from Power Rangers. In it, I think that one was called The Legend of the White Dragon. But they put out a number of just kind of short films and stuff like that. And they've done a few Batman ones, and this one was interesting. It was kind of there was a little bit of action, but it was more of a mind game of sorts between Batman and the Joker, both of which I would say were played really well. I was impressed for just a kind of a independent film like this. They really had a grasp on who those characters were and what their motivations were, and dare I say it was a better conversation and interaction than they had in the Snyder Cut.
That's not a high bar, Logan.
It wasn't, no, but it's still a true statement.
No, very true.
But yeah, it was really cool. I mean, the short film was in 4K, and they apparently had some sort of a crowdfunding campaign to go ahead and get this. So DC either looked the other way or forgot to look, or was too busy looking at Snyder or something. But yeah, I was really, really impressed. It's already got almost 5 million views, and it's almost a half an hour long. So it's quite the short film. Definitely worth its time.
You're 100% right. It was more psychological than action driven.
Yes.
And yeah, the production company is called Bat in the Sun.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the lead guy, he's done a lot of characters. He did the Joker in this one. He also played Nightwing in a few of their skits. I remember there was one where they did Nightwing versus the Winter Soldier. And that one was pretty good.
Well, they did the whole web series Superpower Beatdown. If you're familiar with those or saw those clips through Facebook or whatever. So they really kind of, I think, honed a lot of their editing style and filming and just takes in general kind of from that.
Yeah, and you can, what's funny is if you go in their catalog, you can see them getting progressively better with each episode, effects, action, cinematography, all that. I remember you mentioned Wolverine versus Predator. That was a good one.
Yeah.
I also remember when they did Wolverine versus Wonder Woman. It basically they dropped Wolverine off on Themyscira, and he started throwing down with Wonder Woman, and it was brutal. I mean, let me just somebody ends up falling into the molten lava, and it was really hilarious. Is there's one scene where Wonder Woman throws the lasso around him after like beating the heck out of him, and she's like, she gets him in the lasso. And I think it's more like just a statement out of exasperation. She's like, "Why won't you die?" And he has the lasso around him. So he goes, "Ugh, I got an adamantium skeleton and I heal real fast." And that's when she jumped up to a volcano and threw him in the lava. And, but it didn't stop there. So we'll say, and I think they also do like alternate endings. I think there were two alternate endings for those. So.
Oh yeah, it's like everybody kind of picked the ending they wanted to see, and they just filmed them all for fun.
Yes,
kind of cool.
Yes. So good call on that, Logan. Shout outs to the people at Bat in the Sun. They always do some great stuff. Now, Brianna, on to the next topic. Is Disney ever gonna keep a date?
Is anyone ever going to keep a date this past year?
Time is so relative. Tell us a little about how Disney keeps setting us up and breaking our hearts.
Well, okay. I'll preface it. At least Cruella is staying on the same date of May 28th, but Black Widow, of course, everyone's upset. It's been pushed back from May 7th to July 9th. But it's one of those things where it's like both theaters and on Disney Plus for the $30 rental fee, which, I mean, I guess it's a good thing. It's a bad thing for theaters, but, you know, in today's times, like if you're not vaccinated and don't want to go into the theater or just don't feel like going into the theater and you're willing to shell out $30 instead of like $15, I mean, there you go.
That's assuming you're going alone and not buying any food.
Also true.
Let alone driving to wherever you got to drive to.
Yes.
So, yeah, I did that at first, and I was like, oh man, oh wait, that'll actually be cheaper. I can do that. Money. Yeah, that'll work.
Whereas me, the single person, I'm like, I'd rather just spend $15 and just go to the movie. And like I saw Tenet last year, and that was like in the midst of everything, and like I felt fine because I think there's one other couple in the theater, and I went with my brother, so there's like 4 of us in this giant theater. So it's like, yeah, people aren't going as much as they used to. So I felt safe being there, and nothing will replace that experience, no matter how much stuff I've bought for my living room.
I think I was at that theater with you, Brianna.
Probably.
I saw Tenet in theaters. That was the last movie I saw in theaters.
Yeah, that was literally the last one I saw in theaters. Yeah.
Well, here's the funny thing is I remember the last movie I saw right before, the wheels came off Society was, and I crack up because I was so afraid that this would be the last movie I ever saw because you didn't know. You honestly didn't know what was going to happen. Still don't know. I mean, I
feel like Bad Boys came out around that time.
I caught Bad Boys, but that was not the last movie I saw. The last movie I saw was Deadshot. Or Bloodshot.
Oh,
yeah.
The Vin Diesel.
Vin Diesel.
Oh.
Yeah.
No.
It wasn't even a Fast and Furious. It was
what a movie to go out on.
Yeah, and that's exactly what because I remember I went to the Alamo, which I love the Alamo, and it was a matinee. There was literally 3 people in the theater because it was like right when the world was shutting down. And I was watching it, and it wasn't bad. It was relatively good for a sci-fi comic book adaptation done by a guy who is both in shape and has double chins. It's amazing stuff watching that. And again, I'm a big fan. I kid, but I'm a big fan of Vin Diesel. I've liked him for honestly a long time before the Fast and the Furious franchise. Back in the day, there you could go to Best Buy and buy DVDs, and I went and back. I used to be a huge wannabe cinephile, and I would get these director highlight DVDs, and it would be like not Christopher Nolan, but a lot of music videos, and just had them like a director's work, like Spike Jonze, all of his music videos, and it was like a highlight reel of different directors. And there was one that was a series of shorts done by up-and-coming artists or wannabe directors. One of them was titled Multifacial, and it starred a very young Vin Diesel. And I'm talking before Boiler Room, before any of that, before Saving Private Ryan. And he basically was doing, like his, I think this is like, he was still moonlighting as a bouncer in clubs, but he put together a movie, and it was really interesting. And I know we're a little off topic, but it's a nice anecdote. Vin Diesel put together a movie, starred in it, wrote it, directed it. And it was basically him semi-autobiographical, where he is an actor going on different calls. And each call was a stereotypical ethnic person, but because he's so racially ambiguous, to be kind, he was playing all these different roles. He was playing Latinx, he was playing Italian, he was playing, African American. And at the end, he does he's not getting any callback. So at the end, he does this heartfelt monologue, and he's like, I don't want to be known as, he was telling a story about his father being black and his mother being white, and how his father was an actor. And he said, finally, I don't want to be a black actor or a white actor. I just want to be an actor, the emotional scene. But it was very good, and I remembered it. And then next thing you know, I see him in Saving Private Ryan. You know,
You're like, I know that guy.
yeah, exactly.
He made it. He made
Yeah.
it as an actor. Good
And
job,
and I think there's like some behind the scenes where he was talking about that journey, how Steven Spielberg saw that clip of his highlight reel, and then he said, flash forward to Saving Private Ryan, and he's holding a camera that's worth more than he's made in 5 years. So, it's interesting little story. But that was the last movie I saw right before they shut down, and then when they slowly started to open up, I caught Tenet, and not to go completely off the track, but we're already there anyway, and we're already pretty much in it. What did you think of Tenet, Brianna?
I liked it, but also like Inception is one of my favorite movies. So it's like it didn't top that. I think it's even harder to understand than Inception was. I just feel like an interesting, just some of the things that they do are just so cool. It's Christopher Nolan. He blows my mind sometimes, but also I bought it and I have it and like watch it at home, and the sound mixing drives me insane. Like that's my main critique of Christopher Nolan, even though he's always like, this is how I want it to be. But like, I literally have to keep like turning it up for dialogue and turning it way down for any action sequence. But.
Yeah. I mean, his sound design will blow your mind and your eardrums.
Yes.
Technically, it's hard to find anybody on par with him regarding, cinematography and structure.
Yeah.
I will say that I'm getting a little tired of his what I call chrono fetish, where everything is some big time mind.
Yeah. Even Dunkirk had like the 1 week, 1 day.
I mean, if you think about it, Memento, Inception, Interstellar. Yeah, I mean, there's everything. And I think there's like a video you can find of him talking about how he likes to do timelines in essentially a spiral format, where if, this was a linear line, it would start off in the beginning, go 3/4 of the way ahead, and then come back, and it'd be like a spiral circling in on itself. And that's how he writes scripts. And I'm like, well, that's annoying. And
it can be, but when it's done well, like that, I love when I don't know, which is why, like, gosh, like even the beginning of Inception, it kind of starts at the end, and it's like you're trying to figure out along the way how this like all fits together, and that movie is just like a giant puzzle. So I like that, but yeah, he does do it a lot. Even the Prestige too, like almost all of them.
Always, you know what? He's like M. Night Shyamalan, but talented. I'm sorry, M. Night has talent, but I'm just saying, Christopher Nolan does this twist thing.
He's had more like consistent big budget hits.
Yeah. He's been slowly climbing that ladder, and of course, Batman put him over the edge, over the top with.
But it's always like the dead wife or dead parents. Like there's a lot of commonalities.
Yeah, and again, working with David Bowie in the Prestige, that was something. That was something cool. Okay, now watch me stick the landing on this. Talking about Batman, along with Christian Bale in the new movie coming out for Thor, Love and Thunder, there is a new person added to the slate for that movie, and he is Kal-El's father. Who's Kal-El's father? Jor-El?
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, Jor-El. Yes, AKA Russell Crowe. He is going to be in the new Taika Waititi's Thor: Love and Thunder, and they are building up a cast here. It is really interesting to see. Again, remember we were talking about maybe a few episodes ago about the 6 degrees of Marvel. I mean, you don't even need degrees anymore. Everybody's just literally in Marvel. I'm looking at this cast, and this is for Thor. First of all, Chris Pratt's going to be in it as Star-Lord. You got Tessa Thompson as Valkyrie. You have Natalie Portman, who's going to be Jane Foster. Christian Bale plays the Butcher. I don't know what role that's going to be. I'm not familiar with that. If anybody is, leave it in the comments below. Matt Damon's going to be playing the actor who plays Loki. And they're bringing back Jamie Alexander. She was Sif. Now, if you remember, she was one of Thor's crew, but I think luckily she was either off planet or somewhere else when Hela came and just slaughtered everybody at the Rainbow Bridge. Melissa McCarthy is going to be in it. She's going to be playing Hela, the actor playing Hela, which is going to be hilarious. It's going to be her playing against Matt Dillon and Sam Neill, who plays the actor playing Odin. And of course, I think Taika Waititi is going to be in it as the Rock guy. I forget his name. Korg.
That's Korg.
Right. Yes. And let's see, any other big names in here? Nope, not that I can see. But again, they're just building up the cast. I'm wondering who else is going to join before this is released. Again,
or who they're not going to tell us about.
Yeah. Oh, you think there's going to be some surprises?
When you've got this many, I mean, you have the built-in distraction to take advantage of.
I'm wondering what the budget is for this. I mean, this has to be ridiculous. I mean, you got unless Chris Pratt and because I'm looking at, I mean, Christian Bale. I mean, that's A-list. I mean, he's not just hanging out.
Those actors aren't paid by the day anymore. They're paid a lump sum for however long they work on it. So
yeah. Because I was thinking, I mean, Chris Pratt might have just signed a really long contract with the character Star-Lord. Because I'm sure what do they do, like 6, maybe 8 movie deals? Because he's been in like 4 or 5 of them already.
Mm-hmm.
Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2, obviously. Infinity War and Endgame. He's I'm hoping he's getting paid because he's putting in the hours.
Mm-hmm.
So new people coming. Any updates, we'll be sure and let you know. Anybody that you would like to see, any actors that are not in this movie? That's probably the better question.
They need to save some for newer actors. Like, there's so many big names. They should give other people the chance. Like, those are the perfect roles. Like, that could be a good breakout role for someone else. But
yeah, I agree. I'd like to see more people who aren't names, just to make them into something.
I think they put them on the Disney Plus shows now, aren't they?
Yeah.
I mean, speaking of which, let me change things up. Speaking of Disney Plus, Brianna and I were able to check out episode 2 of The Falcon and Winter Soldier. And Logan hasn't, but he's been kind enough to let us go ahead and talk about it without
all good.
Close your ears.
Now, Brianna, if I can, I'll just set up the gist of episode 2. Episode 1, it was the introduction of Sam and how he gave the shield back to the Smithsonian. He said, I really don't feel that this is something that I can wield. It was Steve's, not mine. He gives it to the Smithsonian, and then he goes home and finds out that it doesn't pay that well to be a superhero. So, he's trying to get loans and stuff. And he gets the benefit of being famous, but none of the perks of having money because he doesn't have money. He's just a real famous broke guy. Because apparently Tony Stark treats everybody like an intern, and he doesn't, put them on salary, which is, since he saved the world, it's kind of a bum deal. But, it is what it is. Flash forward to episode 2, and Winter Soldier, Bucky, we'll call him Bucky, basically approaches Sam and says, "Why did you give the shield back?" And he's like, "You know what? It's none of your business." And he goes, "Well, you shouldn't have given it back." He was just really adamant about that. There's these new faction of activists / terrorists, I guess you can call them, called the Flag Smashers. Apparently, they want things to go back. They were after the blip or during the blip. I think they're feeling that moment in chaos brought humanity together a little closer, which is probably true. Logan, we spoke about this before about how, sometimes you need to have a bigger enemy to draw everybody together as a people. Yep. And I think they're trying to go back to that. Apparently they're under the control of somebody called the Broker. And you comic nerds, I hear you yelling, "You don't know who the Broker is?" I know. I got stuff to do, all right? I don't know about all the comic lore. But apparently they're answering to the Broker, or they were, working for the broker, and they broke off. So he's chasing them, and they have a fantastic cast. That's what I wanted to get to, is the cast actually has some really interesting new characters that I've never heard of before. But there's a woman who plays the lead of the Flag Smashers. Really impressed by what I've seen with her so far. And let me see. Her name is, while I'm pulling it up on the internet. But while I'm doing this, Brianna, what were your thoughts about episode 2?
It was interesting. I didn't really know what to expect, so I thought it was interesting to see like they set up this whole new like Captain America character. His name is John Walker, I guess, in real life. This episode, they really get into like the whole bickering thing between Falcon and Winter Soldier, which like I get what they're trying to do, but it was a little over the top for me. Like, not only was it throughout the episode, and like there are funny moments, but like even when they're in the therapy and she like forces them to sit really, really close, I'm like, this is really like just over the top to me.
They're trying to make it such a buddy cop kind of.
Yeah, but it's almost like too forced. Like if they had left, like they just relaxed a little bit, and I feel like it would just hit a little bit better.
Those are some comedic beats, but do you think it may take away from the
story?
The story, but also just the consequence of it. Things seem a lot less dire when they keep taking these comedic breaks. And like I was saying, I don't know. This was in episode 2, where Bucky and Sam go to actually meet one of the original Captain Americas, because apparently there were more than just this one. And then they put, and again, this is darn it, Brianna, I don't know if you remember the guy's name, but he was an African-American super Captain America, super soldier.
His real name was Isaiah. I don't know if there was another name. But yeah.
Yes, but it was amazing because they went. His name was Isaiah Bradley, a super soldier whom Barnes fought during the Korean War. So Bucky took Falcon to this place in Baltimore, said, I know a guy we could talk to. And it was this older guy who, was apparently, I think, the stand-in or like the second Captain America, because the first one had disappeared. So they tried the serum again on this African-American guy. And they gave him like a wannabe Captain America shield, but it wasn't really working. So he went and got, I think, the original Captain America shield. And because apparently he acquired that by dubious means, after he fought for the country, they threw him in jail for 30 years. So, that's there are a lot of interesting social commentaries in this. And I want to point out one thing that happened when they left his house, because he said he wasn't going to help them. They left his house, and Bucky and Sam are arguing in the middle of the street in Baltimore. And all of a sudden, 5-0 just rolls up on them. And the police officer jumps out, and he, of course, approaches Sam like he's doing something wrong, and like, hey, calm down. What's going on here? Is there a problem? He goes, yeah, we got a problem. And then he's like, he asked Winter Soldier, is this man bothering you? And Sam looks at him. He's like, do you even know who this is? And he goes, oh, I didn't recognize you without the goggles. So it's kind of that whole thing about
racial profiling.
Well, it was definitely that, but it's also, it would be similar to, you've seen it in the news when there'll be a basketball player for a college that'll be pulled over. And then when they realize that he is somebody.
Who it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Then their tone changes.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir.
Oh yeah, exactly. Oh, I didn't know it was you. It's
so that makes it better.
Oh, trust me. But and again, I like that Disney has been, and we've spoken about this in the past, very progressive in a lot of their storytelling, not only with inclusion, but just not shying away from as many social moments. And this, I was wondering if they were going to do it, because I remember when we were first talking about the potentials of Winter Soldier, Falcon and Winter Soldier, and I said, will they be touching base on what it is to be the Black Captain America. And I don't think they're going to shy away from that at all. As a matter of fact, they may have addressed it just in that by showing, they had a Black Captain America. They threw him in jail for 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
So after he, beat up Winter Soldier and almost single-handedly won the war. But that's another thing. And to your point, they have the new Captain America played by John Walker. He is, and I mentioned this in last week's episode, Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn's child.
Sometimes he looks just spitting image, like certain angles. I'm like, oh my gosh, you can tell whose son that is. Yeah, he's got the jawline in the mouth, and and of course they're also and at the end they're going to see a Helmut Zemo. So they're bringing all that in. But I really love the scene where they showed the old Captain America. I thought that was really interesting, and you could tell he was like formidable in his day, but he was just older. He still looked in shape.
And he wasn't backing down. It was funny because he was talking to Bucky. He was like, like what was it, 40 years ago? I ripped off half your arm. Yeah, and he was like, I was wondering if you're ever going to come back for me to
like he just wanted to see his arm.
Exactly. All that. Yeah, the only reason you let him in is because he could see if he still had his arm or not. Mm-hmm. But again, great episode. I feel you, Brianna, with the humor. It kind of takes you out of the moment.
Yeah, well, especially when they're like, it's couples therapy. I'm like, again, just a little over the top here.
They're leaning
a little less.
They're leaning into the whole bromance thing literally way too much. But no, it's. I think it's got promise. Again, I mean, coming right on the heels of WandaVision, I was wondering if because that's hard to follow something that's so successful,
and knowing that Loki's nipping at its heels,
right?
They're not stopping. I'm telling you, they are just going to keep going from episode from series to series because then we're going to have Hawkeye, I think, and what else is good that's coming out besides Loki? You
mean what else is Marvel that's coming out?
Is it the Marvel machine?
I mean, they're just cranking them out. But anyway, good stuff. Definitely look forward to talking about more of these episodes. And again, I think these are only 8 episodes or
6. We got.
Okay, so they're going to have to wrap it up soon. This, Logan, you might want to jump in on this. So, we are definitely going to do a season finale review, kind of like we did with WandaVision. Had a great time doing that. But yeah, let's move on because speaking of comic book lore, because everything's comic book these days. The Suicide Squad just released a trailer a little while ago, and this is, James Gunn's take on the Suicide Squad, and they have all these characters in it now. They a good cast, and again, I think this will be a much better attempt than the last one. Again, I think the studios really hamstrung the last one because they were always trying to adjust. Instead of just doing a certain good product, they were, what are they doing over there? Let's go in that direction. And I remember I had like a list of the best trailers for the worst movies that I've ever seen. And Suicide Squad, their very first trailer was probably one of the best trailers I have ever seen. And then they changed the formula and they started doing like all these graphic animation cards, and they do neon, and it just went way to Kooksville, and it breaks my heart because the trailer looked so promising, the first one, and then the second one I think they did Bohemian Rhapsody, and it became really just like a runaway bear truck. It was all over the place. But anyway, has anybody seen the new Suicide Squad trailer?
I've only seen the trailers for them.
Yeah.
I actually didn't see the old one.
The Red Band, yes, because we need those F-bombs.
It's been a while since I've seen a good Red Band trailer. Yeah. This is a good one for it, though.
Well, hey, we all saw the Mortal Kombat one together.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, but that's true. I mean, we got John Cena in it. I don't know.
I'm not a Cena fan, but this movie looks so much fun. Like, I was cracking up the entire time. It's just one of those things I really hope that, like, I just hate when all of the good jokes are in the trailer, but I feel like this is probably not the case. I think the whole thing will be funny. It just looks just absurd and hilarious.
True. And and again, one thing I always have to keep in the back of my mind is that the trailers aren't usually cut by the director. So, I mean, I think James Gunn, he's just got that comedic timing. Anybody that can make Guardians of the Galaxy such a booming success from unknown characters. And again, a lot of the characters in this one are new as well, so he can really just sink his teeth into it and make
it's a good balance.
Yeah. I mean, because you still do have Harley Quinn, played by Margot Robbie. You have Amanda Waller, played by Viola Davis, and what's his name, the flag guy that will never be famous. I don't know why they keep trying to make him.
Joel Kinnaman.
Okay.
Was that him?
I don't actually. He was in the reboot of RoboCop. That's all I know. And he was also in Altered Carbon. He's the leader, the guy who loved the witch in the first one.
I actually never saw the first one.
Oh, no.
I mean, it's on my HBO Plus, or Max list, but
you're lucky. Don't waste your time. It is so disappointing. It's where Jared Leto made his performance as the Joker. And that was a thing.
So I hear.
That was the thing. Yeah. If you
also, well, at least for this new one, Michael Rooker is in it, which is like him and James Gunn are like it's like every James Gunn movie. So that made me laugh.
And apparently Taika Waititi too.
Yeah. Wait a second. Yeah, I think maybe that's what he's going to be in his Korg. Because I didn't see him in Korg for...
You can't just drop Korg in the DC universe.
I'm sorry. You're right. Forgive me. This is totally different universe.
Wow.
Well, but think about it. First of all these actors are from different universes. Not the characters, obviously, but I was going to say Russell Crowe, who's going to be in Thor, is Superman's father.
Was also in DC, yeah.
So just too many.
No big deal. Yeah.
Too many characters.
They're sharing universes like crazy,
Getting greedy.
Okay, here's a question. When will some executive have the epiphany that a crossover movie is going to blow the box office wide open?
When Disney buys DC?
That's not... So basically, why wait for DC? Why not just buy Warner Brothers?
Because Warner Brothers isn't in a place to sell. Warner Brothers has never been able to shepherd DC properly and has lost more than they've ever wanted to make on it. And maybe they'll just go screw it. I thought I remember something about them considering dropping their comics line or not, putting as much into that. I've seen a lot of turmoil over there and just kind of passing news reports that it just they mismanaged it and then blame it for their mismanagement. And that would be interesting to put everybody over at Disney.
Disney's going to own everything eventually. They might as well just, give into it. I mean, it's...
Can you have a monopoly on superhero genre?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, yes. I mean, it's not like they're having a monopoly on movies, just all the good movies. Speaking of good movies and properties, let's move on to the next topic. There is a Thundercats movie in the works. Now, a lot of us that were born before 2000 remember there was this awesome, Korean drawn Japan animation adaptation series that came on the weekends called Thundercats. And it was out there along the same days as He-Man, Masters of the Universe, and G.I. Joe, and that whole Saturday morning cartoon lineup. But yes, the director of King Kong, Adam Wingard, is going to be directing a movie adaptation of the Thundercats. Now, Logan, will this look like the musical Cats?
It better not. If so, they're doing a Thundercats horror film, not an actual true to the comic adaptation.
Are they just going to take Idris Elba's character from that and make him Panthro? Is that how it works?
I mean, I've seen that fan trailer, and that was not bad, all things considered. That was the closest I've ever seen to a live action Thundercats. They did try a go at it again recently. Maybe it was Netflix or somebody who did a couple of years back. That wasn't terrible, but again, animated still. Kind of like you've seen with Avatar, and then comparing Avatar to Cats. Like, if you're trying to create an emotional response in an audience and connect an audience to a film, you've got to get the character design right. And if you don't get it right, the best story in the world can't save Nightmare Fuel. So, kind of like in some ways, do the way they redesigned Sonic. When they saw the original and didn't, they need to not hide what's going on and be willing to change it. And I think that'll just make everything better, because either you get people very excited for, oh, these characters look awesome, or you get a very, very vocal, oh my goodness, this is garbage. Here's all the ways this is garbage that you can take back to the drawing board and actually use to fix. So in some ways, do what Sonic did and be willing to change and flex and ensure that you've got those characters right. Because if you don't, you're done before you start.
I'm really curious one of the things that is hard to do is when you're doing, humanoid animals with fur, is that fur. Like, is it Wookiee fur, or is it like kiwi fruit? How do you make that play? Especially because they have this pattern of, like a white torso with colored arms. I'm just really curious how they're going to make that look and not come off as laughable. Like Sonic. Huh.
Yeah, because there are just as many done wrong and done right, and you've got to get it right if you want the movie to land.
Well, I'm trying to think of, other than like a werewolf movie, has there ever been a well-designed furry creature?
I'd have to think on that one.
Yeah, that's nothing's jumping to mind. And the only one I was thinking about was Bram Stoker's Dracula, when Dracula became a werewolf. Mm-hmm. I'm not even thinking of Benicio del Toro's. I hated that werewolf. And Bram Stoker, when Dracula became a werewolf, that one was.
Ooh, the only thing I can think of off the top of my head is NBC had a TV series on for a while called Grimm.
Okay.
And it was kind of based roughly on kind of Brothers Grimm and stuff. And a number of the characters would change into an animal-like kind of creature. And the way they did that, like whether they were running around kind of as the animals or as the actors, and maybe part of it was just knowing the actor, underneath the fur, so to speak. But I feel like the way they did that actually made even the characters transformed as engaging and taken seriously as their just normal human persona.
Yeah, I pulled up a couple of images right now, and I see this one guy. I see this one character. The face actually looks pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
He's wearing a suit and an ascot, so it kind of takes me out of it just a little bit.
You've got to see the show. The clips are going to look very, very out of place depending on which ones you're catching.
But the facial
yes.
Practical effects look really good. I mean,
yep.
The bridge of the nose right, and it could work. It could work. Or do you think they may go Warcraft and try and do a whole CG thing?
I don't know enough about Adam Wingard's style to really know what he's going to be looking for. Is he that kind of a, use practical effects because practical effects are better to translate, or is he an all CG person? I don't know his style or who he is enough to know how, or guess at what he would try and do.
Well, I mean, obviously doing Kong and Godzilla, that is leaning more towards the CG realm, but
yeah, maybe CGI and animation kind of thing.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, then if it's just a cartoon movie, I don't know how much I care. If you're trying to actually do it live action and just augment with that, okay, but you can't go overboard.
Exactly. I'm looking at some of his other works. He's done the VHS series, horror films. He also did 24 Exposures and She Dies Tomorrow. Those are the highest rated ones. And by highest rated, one of them is at 35%. So, yeah. I always wonder sometimes how some directors get picked. I mean, are they under contract? Is it they just have a heck of a vision? Because I'm wondering how this guy got Godzilla and King Kong based on this list of movies that he's done. And he's from Tennessee. Oh, geez, that's unfortunate. I'm joking. There's nothing wrong with being from Tennessee. But yeah, I'm not seeing anything that wows me. Oh my God. He did Blair Witch, the remake, the not the original one.
Oh.
Right, the remake.
The really bad remake. Yeah, so no, I don't like him. I don't like it one bit. So we'll see. First of all, I don't know if Kong versus Godzilla is any good. I'm sure it's going to be popcorn, shoving in your mouth. Look at it's a big CGI fight, like the biggest CGI fight. So I guess we'll see. And we'll see. You, the good people out there, know how much it sucks. So good stuff. Let's move on because this is something in tech news. We don't do a lot of tech stuff, but it's always good to stretch our legs and learn what's going on with the tech world. Brianna had an interesting topic. Brianna,
well, I guess it's early talks. It's not like a done deal or anything like that. But Microsoft was actually talking about buying Discord, which is a very popular, well-known app. I guess it started out as gaming specifically, but you don't have to do stuff with gaming on it. Like it's definitely grown to something a lot more than that. But yeah, it would be, I think, $10 billion, something absurd. But I just thought it was interesting. Like, I mean, it's a big enough app that would be a really smart acquisition because I think it's like kind of still early on its popularity and they could maybe do stuff with it. But I just hope they don't ruin it. As can sometimes happen when they buy these things. But yeah, it's a cool app. So
yeah, what else did Microsoft ruin?
Skype.
Stadia.
Skype. Stadia, yeah.
Yeah. But again, maybe they just have all this extra cash now. They're like, well, yeah, we should do this instead.
But that's the thing is I think we were talking about this, a long time ago about when sometimes companies have so much money, they buy properties. I don't know if necessarily to make them successful, but sometimes maybe just to move them off the board or just to put them in their toy chest. But they never really focus on making it something phenomenal or better.
Yep.
I keep going back to when Google tried to make their social platform and they just,
Google Plus.
Google Plus, which again, how can you fail when the internet is usually like 80% of the internet is your engine and you can't just, set up profiles for everything and groups for everything and make it, it boggles the mind how Google could not make a social media work.
Their timing was wrong though, because if it came out last year or the year before that, they would have made bank because like everyone would have just wanted to hang out, do video calls. Like that was kind of the whole point of it. It was like kind of an always on, just talk to your friends if they're online, which wasn't really a thing at the time. So they should have done it last year.
No, you're right. It sometimes it's in the timing, but also I don't think they ever really had any desire to do it. I think they were just it was
trying to compete with Facebook.
It was a thing to do.
Well, yeah, I think honestly they just said, well, what do we have in the petty cash? Oh, 50 million? Build an app.
Right. We can build one. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, what would that be like? Build one. They build it and it sucks. Okay, well, we tried. Did you though? Did you, Google? Interesting. Now, Brianna, that begs the question: are we on Discord?
I'm on Discord. Of course, a Last of Us related one. So
I'm on
yeah,
it
it's kind of
actually.
cool because you can either create a, I don't know, like there's channels within it, but you can either like create your kind of domain, or you have to have an invite to join one.
Mhm.
So it's kind of a more exclusive kind of like you have to know someone in it. But again, like you can find really cool people on there. That's kind of what happened. Like I'm in this like sub channel with a bunch of friends now, and like we're all over the world. Like you can just like talk to each other. If you friend people, you can just send instant messages. You can do like chat. So like some of my friends have recently started playing Elder Scrolls Online, and my headset would work. So we literally just went on Discord chat, and then just talked that way. So it's like you could still kind of do a whole bunch of stuff. So
Cool.
It is a cool thing. And it's
So
free. You can pay it for upgraded things, but we just use the free one.
So you're going to add Binge Theory to Discord? Is that what I'm hearing?
Oh, I don't know. Oh, I'm not a tech person. We could though. We could have our own community.
I actually joined a running based one that's like not even video game, just a guy who has a whole does a podcast and channel and stuff like that, but it's all just on, you know, ultra running and training and marathons and all that.
That'd be a great one because, like, you could talk to people about like training or like what you eat.
That's exactly it. There's training stuff and nutrition stuff and injury prevention or rehab or best trails to run in your state or whatever it is. Like, there's a lot of different interesting kind of things there, and it reminds me very much of the old message boards. You know, it's just a slicked up message board. It's all really
more complex.
Yeah.
All right, so we got to get in on this. Yeah, stay tuned because I'm
before Microsoft buys it. Quick.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll be grandfathered in.
You know, I think we also got to get on the TikTok. The kids like the TikTok, right?
Oh gosh,
that's the thing.
You gonna sing for us, Julian?
Yeah, I'll dance. You know,
we'll just auto tune all of our podcasts.
Exactly, it'll be like T-Pain. You know,
yes,
with movie reviews. Good stuff. So that's what's going on in the tech world. Interesting. And yeah, I'm familiar with Discord, but now I'm intrigued, and that's a whole different level of interest. Let's go on to some culture, something of more sophisticated fare. Logan brought this to our attention. Logan, good sir, broaden our minds with your highfalutin entertainment news.
Yes, and this comes a lot because I used to live right outside of New York City, and when this particular show was on Broadway, it was just a yearly thing. Like, I would go see it every year, and it was just fantastic. So this was something that happened in the past, but the New York Theater Workshop held a kind of fundraising event / anniversary for Jonathan Larson's musical Rent. There was a movie adaptation that came out that had 95% of the original cast in it, give or take, I think 2, from the theater, which is about the best I can get now. But yeah, it was fun. It was kind of an online thing, obviously, because they couldn't have an actual in-person event of any kind. It reminded me, and I say this both nostalgically and disparagingly, of kind of one of those like PBS specials where it's like, the best of pick famous musical artists, Beatles or Yanni or whoever you want to go ahead. And it's like, a bunch of music or really cool interviews or behind the scenes stuff. And then like, donate now pitch. And then interesting kind of stuff. And then, big donate now segment. And then everybody singing or doing stuff or, it was very formulaic in that way. It followed that kind of PBS model pretty closely. But it was cool. There was a lot of original footage, pictures, recordings from Jonathan Larson when he actually was putting together Rent. So versions of songs and pre-versions of things that never actually made it in that I'd never heard before. Him singing a lot of the demos, which was really kind of cool for how he was, wanted the different songs to kind of go and the scenes to take. And then a lot of the actors who who were there who, you know, spoke or did performances. You know, that was where I, you know, first knew Idina Menzel, you know, which everybody now knows as Elsa. It's where Jesse L. Martin was the first time I saw him. And now, you know, that was the biggest reason that, you know, I love CW's The Flash. You know, him being in that, especially their musical episode, and to hear him sing again was just phenomenal. Anthony Rapp, who is he's in Star Trek Discovery. Hasn't sang there yet, but there's hope.
Yet.
Wasn't he also in Dazed and Confused?
Was he? He may have been.
Glasses. He was, you know, one of the nerd crew that was out there. I believe
very possible.
He looks very familiar. I see him with long hair and glasses, and but
very possible.
To that point,
yes, I think he was actually. Yeah.
To that point, I see Billy Porter was also in this.
Yes. Yeah, he was in there as kind of just an additional performance. You know, they had some kind of performance interlude. So they would do a fundraising interlude where they would have a couple of people either perform or speak or speak performances, and kind of do that. So it was kind of fun. It was a really neat interface too. They had kind of like a waiting room, like a lobby. So they kind of did it to mimic the theater experience. And that kind of an in-person experience. So you could go into the main room where you could kind of sit and, like, you know, watch the film. And then there were other little parlors where you could kind of go back out to the main lobby and go in and do a trivia one, or go in and do a sing-along one, or go in and do a behind-the-scenes interviews or stuff like that. So you could kind of do there. They also had a chat room for anybody who was kind of on at the time. So you could, you know, run into people in the hallway and kind of, you know, just chat to random fans in the chat room who had also kind of bought the experience. It was a really, really interesting way of doing it, trying so hard to recreate that in-person experience. It was neat. It was really neat.
That sounds intriguing. And you know, I also see here Ben Platt is in it. And that makes a lot of sense, because I remember I saw him in I believe it was either a Amazon or a Netflix series where he played like a candidate, and he was running for like a school body president, and then like the president of the college, and then he started running for a senator. But it was just a really intriguing story. I forget what network it was on, but come on, internet.
Was it The Politician?
It was The Politician. What did I say? Okay. The candidate? Yes, yeah. The Politician. And because I had never seen him before, but he looked like somebody who had some training, and this makes perfect sense. So, yeah.
I mean, he's done a lot on you know, theater. Obviously, he was in Book of Mormon, Dear Evan Hansen as the title character, and then, you know, Pitch Perfect and Pitch Perfect 2 for what that's worth.
You know what? I hate to say, you know, I'm losing movie cred here. I never saw any of the Pitch Perfects. I think
1 and 2 are good. 3 was not really necessary, but okay, fine.
There's a 3.
There was a 3. We just, my wife and I just saw it actually, and it was fine. It lost some of the magic for sure. They closed out the story, which was probably for the best, so I can accept it for that. But 1 and 2 were great. The third one.
How did they close it out? Did they finally get that perfect pitch and then said, "We're done. We got it. It's perfect"?
I can definitely tell you haven't seen them.
No. I do know that Anna Kendrick was in it and Rebel,
yes.
And that's literally as far as I know.
And their chemistry, and just Anna Kendrick in general, she's one of those names where it's just like, yep, I'll watch that. Okay.
Was she in, or maybe it was her sister? I think I keep confusing her and her sister because they have similar looks. Her sister was in that series House of Cards for a little bit with let's just say Robin Wright Penn and her husband. I think she was like a journalist. She played a journalist to that one. Anna Kendrick's sister, not Anna Kendrick. But again, I confused the two. So. There you go.
Well, she's got a movie coming out actually that I just saw that looked really interesting and kind of drama serious for a while. For her, Stowaway. Have you seen that?
It sounds familiar.
It's coming out sometime. It looks like April 22nd, so sooner rather than later. A science fiction thriller with Anna Kendrick, Daniel Day Kim, Toni Collette, and Shamir Anderson, who I don't know. I guess it's coming out on Netflix. But basically, it's a crew on a spaceship going to Mars that finds an accidental stowaway, like one of the technicians who just kind of got an injury and ended up, and then realizing they're too far to turn around, and they actually can't support 4 people the entire trip to Mars. And to see her in that kind of a sci-fi serious role, like I said,
an article about that with pictures, but I didn't see a trailer.
Yeah, there's definitely a trailer out.
I think I did see that trailer, once, and because I do remember seeing her like in a cubby hole or something, or being revealed. She's the stowaway, right?
No, she is not.
She's not. Who?
No.
Oh, Toni Collette's in it. That should be interesting.
Toni Collette's in it. No, it's the Shamir Anderson, I believe, who actually plays the stowaway character. And I love Daniel Day Kim. I mean, just to see him and stuff too. He's fantastic.
Yeah. No.
So I was really excited, and to see her in something that serious thriller drama, cool stuff coming.
Well, and I told you I'm such a big fan of Toni Collette, and if anybody ever wants to see her full speed acting, you got to watch Hereditary, where she does.
Oh gosh, that movie. Oh.
Well, movie aside, I think I mentioned a little to. And I think
I watched it. I don't know why. I watched it then.
Brianna, how did you come about that movie? Because that movie that. Let me put it this way: that movie you have to seek out and find. That was not like a.
I guess, yeah. Well, Toni Collette, I really like her.
Yeah.
But, I just feel like on Twitter, I think a lot of people had been posting about it, and I was just in the mood to watch like a scary movie. Man, it is. That type of psychological horror is what bothers me above all else. Like, that movie was so, oh my gosh. It just was so creepy at times. It was so disturbing at times.
Yeah.
It's like,
I think that's
so uncomfortable. It's so weird. Oh my gosh. It was so good, but not my thing also.
Cinematically, it was very good. If you like it, you probably also like movies like It Follows. It, Snowpiercer, Alien Covenant. It's dark, and I already took probably months off Logan's life by describing certain scenes in it.
Yeah,
probably.
Yeah, all I'll say is this to you, Brianna: the light post, and then that's.
Oh gosh, yeah, I know exactly what. Thank you for reminding me.
Yes, that. Yes. But anyway, good stuff. No. I don't know how we got sidetracked on that, but we always 25th anniversary of and then we went to Anna Kendrick, and that. So we spiraled. Sorry, I'm back on track.
It was Ben Platt to Anna Kendrick. That's where it went.
Yes, we're playing 6 degrees of
6 degrees of Rent.
6 degrees of Rent.
How far away can we get?
I'm interested in playing a game. Testing my skills, because I swear the older I get, the more my brain turns to mush. So, Brianna, name an actor. I want to do a quick 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon game.
I'm trying to think of someone. Brad Pitt.
Well, yeah, come on. Make it somewhat easy for me.
Brad Pitt. I don't know anyone else.
Oh, really? Brad Pitt. He was in Sleepwalkers with Kevin Bacon.
There you go.
The Sleepers. Yeah, he was in Sleepers with them.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, see that? There you go. Morgan, yeah. I mean, I'm sorry. Logan, you come up with one.
Nathan Fillion.
Ooh.
Nathan Fillion. See, I know that's your genre.
Of course, that's what I'm going to go with.
But honestly, I don't even know what movies he's been in. I know he's in The Rookie, that TV series.
That is the current TV series, yeah.
I know he was on Firefly, and the series that was based off of, which was
Firefly was the series. Serenity was the movie.
Serenity. Yes,
but I thought you might have gone with Slither.
I never saw Sliver.
Really? Okay.
Is that the horror one with the bathtub?
Yeah.
I saw like I think maybe I saw a trailer of it, and no.
That was James Gunn and Michael Rooker.
I was going to say, I thought that was James.
That was a James Gunn, yeah.
Okay. Well, all right. If it's James Gunn and Michael Rooker, if you can give me that, you'll spot me that. Okay, let's go. Let's go. Michael Rooker was in. He was in Days of Thunder with Tom Cruise, and Tom Cruise was in Interview with a Vampire with Brad Pitt, and Brad Pitt was in Sleepers with Kevin Bacon.
There we go.
There you go. Circle.
I still got it. Yeah, I'm like Ralph Mouth. For those of you that don't know, that was from a series way back in the day when Ron Howard had hair. Excellent stuff. Okay, Logan.
Yeah.
Tell us about Saturday morning cartoons.
Saturday morning cartoons. You know what?
Anything.
They are back. That is what I'm going to tell you.
They're back.
They're back. And not only are they back in their full nostalgic glory. On YouTube, of all places, the Ghostbusters YouTube channel is rebroadcasting, republishing, if you will, this was like 1984, 86, something like that. The original real Ghostbusters animated series. Every Saturday, I want to say it's 9 or 9:30, and they're just putting out one episode each weekend. It's fantastic. They're just putting them out one a week. It's something that, like, I mean, this was a series that I grew up on. It's probably one of the first TV series that I actually remember. When I remember when my mother, I don't remember this, but there's video of it, so that's why it's become a memory in my head. But when my mother was in the hospital having my little younger brother, there was a Ghostbusters episode playing on the TV in the background while I was recording like a little video message to her, back in the days of VHS cassette tape recorders.
Yeah.
I remember watching that just loving that series, and I have been able to now show that to my kids every Saturday, where they're just like, is it going to be Ghostbusters? Is it like they're actually excited about it. Like it holds up enough for them to want to watch it and to actually kind of sit through and enjoy it. And then, go play Ghostbusters or whatever they want to do after. It's really cool. They're also doing the same thing with the 1994 or 96 remake, Ghostbusters Extreme or whatever they call it. So there was a second animated series that was another decade or so later. They're also releasing one of those, I believe, each Saturday as well.
I make it a purpose never to watch anything with extreme in the title. That, I mean,
yeah.
And just to back up for 1 second, I am a big fan of the original series, The Real Ghostbusters. Fun fact, the reason they called it The Real Ghostbusters is because many years prior, there was an old black and white TV series called Ghostbusters. And it was way before the Bill Murray property and all that. It was called The Ghostbusters. And then they made Ghostbusters the movie, but they couldn't get the TV title Ghostbusters because they couldn't get a series called The Ghostbusters because the Ghostbusters were taken, so they had to have The Real Ghostbusters.
Oh, interesting.
Very interesting. Yeah, if you look it up, the original one, it was nothing like it. It was more along the lines of like Beverly Hillbillies meets the Munsters. They drove around in this rickety car, and I think there was like a gorilla hybrid person, and it was very, very, and the guy from F Troop was in there. Very 19. It was like right before Gilligan's Island.
Okay.
one of those time frames.
Yeah, I think besides just the nostalgic joy of this series, I think one of the things that I found the most interesting, and because apparently everything needs to tie back to Warner Brothers and HBO, is that the story editor and one of the writers of the series was none other than J. Michael Straczynski, who I have not. It's actually kind of creepy how much this individual has shaped all of my kind of media and just viewing. He did Babylon 5, which is now showing in it's completely redone in just beautiful high definition on HBO Max. It was a sci-fi series, ran from, I want to say 93 or so to like 98 or 99, something like that, right around the same time Star Trek Deep Space Nine was going, because it was the other space station sci-fi series. And that one I'll credit to being kind of my first real, sci-fi passion love. Like that series just absolutely just hooked me. I'm rewatching it again, actually, from the beginning with my wife when we're not, having to catching all the Disney stuff or Marvel or other things. But he's written comics. He did and just absolutely glorious. There's the Death of Silver Surfer arc that was maybe 10, 15 years ago. That it was just so well written and so well done. He did. There was a Netflix series. It only lasted 2 seasons. Sense8 with the Wachowski sisters. He did that with them. He did Changeling, the movie with Angelina Jolie, about the kidnapping of, I guess it was her child or whatever, the kind of real life story of sorts. He is somebody who just, it seems every time something just crazy pops up, like he's there, he's written it, or something about, his work just resonates with me in such a way. And yeah, to see it, like, I literally stopped it and just stared at the screen, because it was like I did not expect to see his name there, realizing that since I've been 2 practically, I've been influenced by his works.
That is interesting. No, we might have to do a retrospective someday and just go back. I wanted to start a whole series about that, just going through certain directors. We were starting it way back before COVID dropped. When we were doing Kurosawa and trying to build up a library of directors we liked or films. So yeah, we might have to dust off those ideas and start looking at these influential cornerstones of media. I like that. Good stuff. Brianna, did you ever watch Ghostbusters, or was that?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
I don't think I did. I might have seen them here and there, but I wasn't religiously watching them.
Not the best animation, but it was based on a very cool property, and in the 80s, that was enough.
That was enough.
That was enough.
It was an easier time.
Yes, and apparently, and Slimer went from being a scary monster to a very cute, lovable colleague, a frenemy, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah, it was interesting though. I have to check that out. Now let me ask you this: do you think YouTube is trying to touch their feet in the streaming world again? I mean, I know they have YouTube Red and they have shows, but it's falling flat. I mean, and here's what I love. YouTube is Google. And again, Google has all the money in the world. Why are they not trying to utilize the largest video platform on the planet to have the largest streaming platform on the planet? I know they don't own all the properties, but they could start just accumulating all the crumbs, if you will, and make their own pie.
I mean, I don't know how much of a direct hand YouTube has in the Ghostbusters YouTube channel doing this. I think this is probably a long tail promotion for Afterlife, if we're being honest. It's rebuilding the nostalgia and the front of mindness, if you will, of Ghostbusters. So it's probably actually just a marketing type thing that somebody was like, well, look, we've got these episodes in the closet. Nobody's going to buy a DVD of them. Sure, I don't care if you put one out a week or whatever. In some ways, it's the low hanging fruit of what's the marketing team able to use to be able to drum up regular support. And this is the kind of thing that's doing it. I think where YouTube may be, and again, as an armchair executive here, dropping that a little bit is that they're trying to be everybody else as opposed to playing to the strengths of YouTube. And the strengths of YouTube are this incredibly diverse and just sheer overwhelmingness of content and creators that are out there. And they would probably be much, much better served to say, I don't need the rest of your properties. I don't need to be a DC Universe or a Warner Brothers or a Disney Plus or whatever. Like, curate what you have, promote what you have, cross promote on the Ghostbusters YouTube commercials with another channel that you've got the algorithm. So tell us what is to stay streaming inside of YouTube, and then have your own ads running on that. Like, they're trying to be everybody else and trying to be these big things and not playing to their own strengths, where when it comes down to it, Google is an ad generated revenue company. So make use of your assets, all these people who just put up their videos for free, and make the revenue off of those ads and keep people on that platform watching those channels as much as possible.
That's an excellent point. It's almost easy to forget that, Google as YouTube, they don't really create anything. They just facilitate everybody else's, they facilitate every other website by making Google. They facilitate every other video by making YouTube. So they don't have to create. They just have to, have really good UX, make it a easy format for people to stay on. Just keep feeding us what we want to watch with their vicious algorithm, and raking all the money. Jeez.
I mean, they tried to make Cobra Kai just like everybody else went ahead and made a series, and then it didn't make enough money for them or whatever, and it ended up getting sold to Netflix. Well, if they were to go ahead and within of that, have 50, 100, 1,000 different creators who are making independent things like that they can promote inside of Cobra Kai. If they had special contracts with the main actors to go to their own YouTube channels, keep the viewing, keep the ad revenue inside of the platform. Don't just try and make a series and think people are going to pay you for it. That's not necessarily where Google's YouTube strength is going to lie. Keep you inside of the platform. You want their eyes to never, you want them to basically, by the time they look up at the clock, it's time to go to bed, not time to turn on Disney.
True.
Keep them in YouTube.
And what's hilarious is, I think that's where they may have missed the mark, is by trying to set up a pay platform. First of all, your profit margin is quite substantial. You don't need to, charge people to watch certain content. If anything, you start it off for free, and then maybe you do the Disney thing where you start tacking on $1 every couple of months or something like that. And
there are people who will always pay for no ads, and they should pay more than the people who have to watch ads. But that should be your tier.
Yes.
It's free with ads, or free because you paid for it. Exactly.
Because as soon as I heard pay, I was like, no. But if I'm really invested, I'll pay. What is it? Crunchyroll, Brianna, that has
all the anime or whatever.
Yeah. If the ads are really just getting to me, but again, you could still monetize. People want to get on that lower tier. Speaking of which, we're going to be updating our Patreon soon, so stay tuned, because we're going to have some tiers for you to select from. It's very, very exciting stuff. Good stuff. Again, Ghostbusters, Heathcliff, what else? Smurfs.
G.I. Joe.
Well, I was going for the more cutesy,
the cutesy ones. Okay, okay.
Because if we're talking GI Joe, we're talking Transformers, and if we're talking Transformers, we're going into Mask and
Robotech. Oh, yeah, that doesn't end.
Yeah. But good stuff. No, dusting off that nostalgia, I love it. Let's move on, because this is something Brianna brought up, and this is going to be huge. It's going to be so huge. Brianna, tell us about Ewan McGregor's little side project that he's working on.
Yeah, you might have known him as playing Obi-Wan Kenobi. So they just announced some of the series cast for the Obi-Wan show that's coming out on Disney Plus. I guess they're not filming it till they're starting it next month, but it makes me laugh though, because I feel like normally they do like 3-4 actors at a time. This is like 12 people. So, but I mean, obviously we knew that Ewan was going to be Obi-Wan. So that kind of helps set the timeline. I didn't know that Hayden Christensen was going to be back. And also I thought it was interesting. They're using the original Joel Edgerton and Bonnie Peace. Yeah, so Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru from the prequel trilogies, which is like always nice when they bring those characters back, like if they're available. So that was really cool. But other than that, it's a pretty diverse cast. And I also didn't know, I guess it takes place 10 years after Revenge of the Sith. So it's kind of between that and A New Hope, which is like really, really interesting. So we'll see.
Interesting.
But other than that, I don't think they really have said that much, but obviously like it's going to be Darth Vader since it's after Revenge of the Sith. So, I mean, they could do a lot of cool stuff with it, I guess.
I'm loving this cast though. Kumail Nanjiani's going to be in it.
He's so funny.
Again, he's got the Disney contract because he's also going to be in the Eternals.
That's right.
That comes out.
Yeah, I feel like I at least recognize almost everyone on here. I might not have known their names, but
you definitely should recognize Indira Varma. She was in Game of Thrones. She was the Viper's sister.
Okay.
And Rupert Friend, the only way I recognize him is, I believe, well, he was in the movie that was the sequel to who was Agent, the video game remake, Brianna, shaved head, red tie, Hitman. Is it Hitman?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he was the second Hitman, and yeah, didn't quite pull it off, if you ask me. And we got Sam. I'm sorry, Song Kang. From
Tokyo Drift.
Tokyo Drift, and he's back again in Fast
F9.
Yeah, it's 9. We're at 9. Ugh.
We're at 9. It's okay. They've said they'll end at 10.
Sure. Yeah. Maybe. Yeah. But they'll have spinoffs, because it's money. Benny Safdie's going to be in it. Now, a lot of people may not know him. He is part of the writing, directing brothers squad, the Safdie brothers. So he did the Adam Sandler Uncut Gems film. He also did Patrick, what's his name? The new Batman. Twilight guy.
Oh, Robert Pattinson.
Robert Pattinson. Yes. Robert Pattinson, he was in a film called Good Times, and that was directed by the Safdie brothers. Very, very indie, but have a very unique eye. I'm a big fan of their work. And we got Ice Cube's son, O'Shea Jackson Jr. So you got a little West Coast flavor up in there. Yeah, it's not. And what is it with Uncle Owen, Aunt Peru, and Anakin all just not doing well with fire? How does that work? Is that like a genetic thing? Fire's just
spoiler alert.
I was thinking about putting a meme together when Luke Skywalker was talking to Ben Kenobi for the first time in a long time, and I'm sure other people have made this observation. But when Luke Skywalker says, "You knew my father," and he says, "Yeah, I knew him. Last time I saw him, I chopped off his legs and his arm, and he was on fire as I turned away and walked."
Too dark of a
yeah, exactly. But it was just, it's really interesting, how knowing the what happens to Hayden Christensen or Anakin, and how Ben doesn't even tell Luke. I guess he told him the truth from a certain point of view. You see what I did there?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. But good stuff. Good stuff. Obi-Wan Kenobi, again, Disney laying him out like Reese's Pieces to E.T., and we're going to just keep getting them. You can't avoid it. All right, let's move on to the next one. Now, this is still in the Star Wars Disney universe. We can't get out of this flipping thing. Star Wars is coming out with a new animated series called The Bad Batch. And Logan, I want to go to you on this because you're much more knowledgeable about the Clone Wars and some of these characters that they showed it, because we just watched the trailer before we started this episode, and I think Logan got a lot more out of it than I did.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to see where this goes. So the Bad Batch is basically an entire series about elite and experimental troopers of Clone Force 99. But anyway, they were introduced in this, I think it was the 7th season of the Clone Wars. So it was just the recent one that they finished. And I mean, it was, if anything, screamed backdoor pilot. Like, it was their introduction. Like, there was very clearly that they wanted to kind of go more in this universe and stuff. And, each one of these particular members, have kind of a single exceptional skill, and together their team, working together as a team, lets them do basically anything that they need to do. So it's not exactly a new premise, but it's going to be fun to kind of continue to explore just this universe and all the mind of Dave Filoni.
It kind of seems like the most lighthearted Star Wars type thing, but also like the title, The Bad Batch. Like, that's not a very traditional Star Wars type title.
It's what they were called in the Clone Wars. What their group was, kind of referred to almost not really tongue in cheek, but kind of sarcastically behind their back, like, they're that batch, they're them, because it was a group of clones, but they are so different than even all of the other clones that evolved personalities over the course of that show. Like, it's substantial, even the way it's displayed there. So I would have loved for Clone Wars to continue, but I'm getting a live action Ahsoka, so I'll take that instead. And if this is continuing that same universe, all the better.
Again,
you got to point out the day it comes out.
Well, what other day could a new Star Wars? May the 4th.
Wars Day,
like, seriously.
Because it sounds like May the Force be with you, so it's Star Wars Day. Yes.
It's like that will be one of those things in perpetuity where it's just like, when is the Star Wars thing? Don't say it. Don't say it.
Well, and again, that's just this one, because they got so many other things they can't parse them out every year. So yeah, it's.
Luckily.
Yeah, I don't know if anything's ever actually come out on May the 4th. I don't know. There's been so many things, but
interesting thing. But again, it's Disney. I mean, what are you doing? I mean, I remember when Disney first started their platform, I was like, how many times can you watch Cinderella? But after they made their moves,
let me tell you how many times we've watched Frozen.
True. No, and again, don't get me wrong. I can understand that demographic, but I'm just saying, how are they going to make a channel work, broader with a broader audience? And now I get it. You've proved me wrong, Disney. Thank you.
100 million subscribers.
And subscriptions are where it's at, because again, I remember, what was it? Was it Disney that I started subscribing to? Maybe it was, but you know what? I think I tested it out, and this is before The Mandalorian. And then I just said, not really interested. The Mandalorian came out, and I got back in, and I've been chucking dollars at them ever since, as they slowly ratcheted up. And again, it's brilliant too, because
when they had their D23 thing, like, if you know a friend, ask them for an invite so you can buy 3 years right now. Like, I was on the phone that minute. Like, I prepaid that, because even if it was just how many times we watch Frozen 2, and Tropical Frozen, I mean Moana.
So if you have kids,
yes,
I could see that. I definitely would have
100%.
Yes.
if I had kids, I would have definitely saw that as a easy investment.
Yep. No brainer.
Yeah, I
How
only
many years will
subscribe
you
when
let
I'm
me
watching.
subscribe for? I will do that right now.
Yeah.
Well,
Can it be 10?
Yeah, seriously,
Ready to
please.
sign up.
And to Brianna's point, it's normally I would only subscribe if I'm watching it, but
That's what I
obviously
do.
that's their marketing genius is they're handing off from one to another.
Mhm.
I'm going to be watching this thing till I'm 50 at this rate. It's ridiculous. So
And there'll still be more series coming.
geez, because I'm sure they're going to come out with the Young Avengers eventually, and that's a whole nother series of whippersnappers doing their thing.
I mean, it's I think where Paramount CBS has kind of dropped the ball with some of the Star Trek stuff is that they had a whole bunch of Picard leading into Discovery, into Lower Decks, into some of that, and it was like, all right, great, but there's been a bit of a lull right now. So it's like, do I keep it or do I just start it up in a little bit or whatever? But if it were still going, it wouldn't even be it'd be a no-brainer.
Excellent point. And I think that's honestly that may be also a good reason why Warner Brothers and HBO are doing the HBO Max, because HBO kept having that spike and drop when it Sopranos went off the air, and then when Game of Thrones ended, and because honestly I don't, other than what is that, later next week or whatever, the John Oliver show, there's not a lot that I would be watching on HBO, and but because it's because now they're doing their Zack Snyderverse and Wonder Woman and all of that. I seriously doubt they're ever going to go back, or at least not for the foreseeable future, back to a theater exclusive platform.
I think they're going to have to for some while. I'm sure it's not going to be 90 days. I think we'll be looking at closer to probably a tiered type of a thing where some of their movies they don't necessarily care as much about may get a longer theatrical run or vice versa. But like you said, the subscription is where it's at. A one-time movie thing that's split with a cinema company is not going to make as much as somebody who's like, well, there's Godzilla in March, and then Mortal Kombat in April, and then this in May, and this in June. Well, yeah, okay, then I'll go ahead and subscribe because, that was what I did. I looked at the slate of movies they were releasing there, and yeah, there was roughly one a month that, I would probably want to go watch. I wouldn't go see them all in the theater. I can't with kids.
Right.
But, well, they're all going to be on this platform? All right. Even at $15 a month, it's still cheaper than going to the movie, the movies once a month. So, all right, fine. You got me.
Again, it's I would love to be in those board meetings where they're just mapping all this out and saying, because it back in the days of HBO, I guess Gen 1 and Movie Channel and Stars, and it was just a matter of where else were you going to go? But now that we have all these streaming platforms, you have to feed the machine. And again, Disney has it down to a science. Again, Disney. I don't know who they're hiring, but they're doing a heck of a job because there's showrunners, just their whole slate, the directors. I mean, they're just firing on all four cylinders. So
yeah,
that's the new reality. Good stuff. Star Wars, Disney. We'll see it. We'll talk about it. We'll bring it to you. Comments below. What else do you want to see? Let's wrap it up with, and this is something that I watched religiously. Brianna, are you a fan of the R&M?
I've seen a couple episodes here and there, but that's it.
Well, for those out there, and again, anybody who likes the Szechuan sauce is a big fan of Rick and Morty. Season 5 is coming out, and just to put it, not too fine a point on it, Rick and Morty is probably one of the most clever, dumb entertainment comics that are out there in regards to they keep pointing to every genre and flipping it on its head and making fun of it. We watched the trailer together, and they made so many references to Blade, to Alien, to steampunk. They're all over the place. They find something that people tend to invest time and energy in, and then they just brutalize it. I remember, I think it was last season, they had this thing called the Vindicators, which was a very big jab at the Avengers. and just the whole making fun of the team. And I think they even literally said, if you have to wear a uniform to prove you're a hero, then you're not really a hero. Something along those lines.
Shots fired.
Yes, and that's the thing. The shots fires at everything. They did one that was a trope on Mad Max. So they're all over the place, but they love going to those little cultural safe havens that we hold on to and just blow it up. So there were so many things in the trailer we just saw. It was just hard to home in on one because it's just a montage of madness. So I think that's the tagline for Rick and Morty this year, is a montage of madness. But yeah, I definitely will probably be, posting stuff on social about episodes and things like that I saw. And Logan, trust me, your slate is filled with, Ilsa and tell us what you're watching on with the family, just so I can, enjoy some wholesomeness as opposed to all this.
What do the kids enjoy watching? I've gotten them into the Ghostbusters, which is great. Certainly, Frozen kind of makes its appearance. Every now and then, it's kind of fun watching the different developmental stages go through Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. They have a newer version of it, and it's my middle child was always kind of more outgoing and would sing and respond to the TV, and my oldest never would when he watched it when he was her age. But now they'll both do it kind of together. So that's actually kind of fun to watch that those different developmental stages kind of go. And then, of course, the baby just loves, she'll start bouncing whenever the hot dog song comes on or whatever. So it's got something for everybody there. They love PJ Masks, which is another one that it's just earworm after earworm that you find yourself singing it, and then you hate yourself a little bit more each time. My daughter did love a series, still does, not as much, Elena of Avalor. It's an animated series on Disney that we just kind of found because we had Disney Plus. And it was just a really fun kind of sort of made up, kingdom with a, princess and magic and flying tiger dragons and all of that kind of fun stuff. But it seemed to pull very, very heavily from Spanish and Mexican cultures. Similar style kind of music and, instrumentation, sport, just a lot of different things where it would be a really interesting study in, is that cultural appreciation or appropriation? And I really don't know to some extent as to whether they're, stealing a culture, everything about a culture and calling it another culture without crediting the original, or is it still just a good thing that it's showing culture in general? I don't know. It's very, very interesting from that level, but she just loves the princess and the flying tiger dragon things.
What's that movie that's coming out? Like Maya and the Last Dragon? Is that
one did just come out? Actually, yeah.
Yeah,
it came out on Disney a couple weeks ago, I think.
Have they watched that? Are they going to watch that, or
they will? They haven't, because that's not one that I'm willing to pay all access price for. That's one of those $30 ones, because that should have been a film. I haven't yet. I guess they don't tend to see a lot of the advertisements for it, so they don't know to ask for it unless, one of the neighborhood kids they're playing outside with happens to mention it or talk about it or something. But Raya hasn't been one of them. I've heard lots of great things about it. And I'm sure it's something we'll watch when it comes to Disney Plus regularly, but it's nothing that I'm that anxious to pay for at the moment.
I hear you. I didn't. Obviously, I'm just in it for the Star Wars and the Marvel. So.
Sure. And the biggest thing, actually, not even with Disney, but HBO is HBO has that agreement with Sesame Street. So we actually get the new Sesame Street episodes. I think it's 9 months before PBS gets them. So
Nice.
they've actually been going through Sesame Street, watching some of the new ones, going through all 50 odd seasons of Sesame Street and watching historical ones.
See, I grew up on Sesame Street.
Yeah, Sesame Street has been the big one with HBO. That's been really, really cool to just always have now, at the fingertips to kind of put on and play for them and go.
That's wow. Yeah, no, Sesame Street, grew up with that, and to a lesser extent, the Electric Company. But Sesame Street and the Muppet movie was my jam back in the day, and Rainbow Connection, still one of the best songs.
Oh, I love Rainbow Connection.
Well, speaking of Muppet movie and the Muppets, Disney just released seasons 4 and 5 of the Muppet Show on the platform. That 4 and 5 have never come to DVD. Because my wife grew up on the Muppet Show, so I got her all the seasons on DVD, but only 1, 2, and 3 are available. So 4 and 5 are now streaming only and exclusively. I believe it's on Disney.
Do they have the first 3 as well?
They have the first 3 as well. Yes,
I might have to binge that.
It's background stuff at this day and age, probably, just to kind of see some of these people and in their prime. They've got the youngest Sylvester Stallone I think I've ever seen. It's great.
They also have Mark Hamill. They had
Mark
Hamill, Dolly Parton.
So many.
Anybody who was, in the late 70s, early 80s, was on the Muppet Show.
That was like the show to be on. Yeah.
Yep.
that was the jam.
Yeah.
Yeah. I that's exactly what I was going to say. A young Sylvester Stallone. And it must've been like right after Rocky 2 or right after Rocky. It was before Rocky 3, I think. It had to have been because, he was, he didn't look like just, a guy who went to the gym. He looked like a physical fitness guy at that point. But a young Sly Stallone. Speaking of which, Sly Stallone plays the voice of King Shark.
Yes, he does.
Which I think he's basically stealing Vin Diesel's, mojo.
More power to him. Yeah. I can't wait.
And don't forget, he talk about living in 2 different universes, because he's also going to be in the Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Because he's one of the.
Well, he had the cameo in 2, didn't he?
Yeah. But they're bringing him back in 3.
Awesome.
Yeah, because he's the lead of that gang that they were a part of. Not the Reavers. That's Wolverine. But the pirates. He's the King Pirate, if you will. Good stuff. No, good stuff.
Good times.
Yeah. Brianna, you got anything left on the docket? Have we done it all?
We've achieved everything. Every bit of news in the last week and a half.
Yes, we've checked all the boxes. We touched all the topics. Again, fantastic episode. Brianna, Logan, you guys rock. And Empty Square, you rock too. Speaking of which, out there, Kenny just had an addition to his family. That's why he's not joining us, because he's in full-on dad mode. So be sure to say
we'll allow it for a little while.
Exactly. Be sure and put in the comments down below. Congratulations, Kenny. Give him some love. And again, want to make sure that everybody's taking care of yourselves out there. The vaccines are coming. You're almost there. Do the right thing. Don't do the stupid thing. Do the other thing. Just stay masked, stay healthy. The vaccines will save us, but we have to work with them just a little longer. Anyway, as always, make sure that you're taking care of yourselves, take care of each other. And as always, if it's worthwhile, it's worth binging.